What's up, Cathedora? Nice to see you. I did things. My chair is still squeaky. That's not new. Yeah, I did some things. I played around with the mic positioning and like both mic positioning and a little bit on the audio settings on my mixer. So let me know if the levels are balanced okay and whatever. That was what I did. I also installed the NVIDIA drivers. So the last stream, you okay? In and out? Yeah, cool. Yeah, so I installed the NVIDIA drivers, which I was using the open source Mujo drivers for the last stream, and it went great. It seemed like there weren't. I went back and looked at a little bit of the VOD on YouTube, and it seemed fine. So the NVIDIA drivers are supposed to be. It's a whole thing with Linux. Is the NVIDIA drivers are proprietary, which means they're closed source, which means people in the community can't look at the source. So that's a whole point of contention. So there's this whole community effort around building open source drivers, but they have to like reverse engineer the NVIDIA drivers. So they're not as performant as the stuff that NVIDIA makes for, obvious reasons. And so anyway, that's a whole thing. So some people philosophically are opposed to using proprietary software on their, free and open software solutions, but I'm not. So need to make this bigger. Need to make the font bigger over here so that I may see. So I think that's good. I'm not going to stream to Streamplace for a little bit. If you were here last time, you know that I was testing some things out with, I'm running on Debian Linux right now. I was testing some things out last stream between Ubuntu Studio and Debian, and we found an issue with the audio in Streamplace. So I'm kind of holding off on that until I get a little bit more info about what's going on. I think it might be a known issue, but I did post in their Discord about it, and I tried to pop into like the lead dev, Eli. He streams all of his like development work, or maybe not all of it, but a lot of it on Streamplace, and so I popped in there yesterday just to kind of see what he was working on and to see if he wanted anything from me to save him a little time. But he was just ending, so I didn't quite catch. It was enough to say hi, and then he had to duck out. So anyway, but I do want to stream to Streamplace. Like, I'm very excited about that whole dealie. So anyway, I did a little bit of warming up off camera. Let's do a little bit more warming up on camera. Let's see here. 23. And I don't have a Stream Deck solution right now, so there's not a Linux. Elgato doesn't make a Linux version of Stream Deck. So there's some, like, again, the community has created some other tools, and I just when I was testing things out on Ubuntu, one of the things that I ran into was the Stream Controller was the app that I was trying to use, and there were some compatibility issues between different things, and so I'm a little hesitant. I'm a little scared to like try it again on Debian. I'm gonna snapshot this system before I go mucking around with more stuff. So anyway, so I don't have the Stream Deck's not working, so I don't have any buttons, but it's fine. It'll be fine. Anyway. So this exercise here It's one of the finger twisters. Okay, that's what we're doing. So we're going from extended position to half position. Let's do this. Okay, let's turn the metronome on. DJ Moans 1. Tell you what he says. I'll tell you what's scary. Moans random photos in his show that make Tripwire panic and debate rating again. Yes. I just wasn't prepared. Wasn't prepared. That was the thing. Everybody go follow DJ Moans 1, please. And also go follow Cathedora. We got to do it this way. I just wasn't prepared for that. Anyway, if you want to know what we're talking about, just go over to DJ Moans 1 stream, and yeah. I'm not going to explain. I'm just going to let you find out on your own. Okay, metronome. What's up, Silver? Because I was talking. Do that. All right, we'll do a little shifting. Number 3. Okay, so this one is also in 3. 44. Hello, turn the page, please. You're down here. I'm tuned back to standard tuning, by the way. I might rearrange the order in which we do things. Let's see here. Okay. That's where the shift is. Okay, we got B flat to E flat to A flat. Everything's flat and it's confusing my brain. That's not an extension. Oh wait, maybe it is. Oh, wait a minute here. Okay, so that's how it's supposed to sound. Those weren't in the right spot. So many flats, so confusing. There's 4 flats here. 4 flats, so many flats. Okay, I think that's right. Thanks, Silver. Yeah, that's okay, the way that this is written, it's a C flat, which means it's a B natural. So there, that was right. I'm gonna actually get a B flat going on the drone. That might help. That's actually only helping some of the time, and it's confusing other times. That's a 4. Okay. I think we might be in business now. Okay, let's try it all one bow. All right, that's tricky. We got a couple more shifting exercises. Could also be an A, but I digress. Yeah. Yeah. 24. Is this number 5? Did I change that? Yes. It gets confusing when we get into like the C flats. Like things that are normally things that can be called two different notes that can be called two different things, but are mostly called one thing versus the other thing. And when they're called the other thing, like, you know, usually C flat is also a B, or F flat is also an E. And when you start, normally you call them E and B, but sometimes you need to call them F flat and C flat. And then it short circuits my brain when that happens. Yeah, a double sharp, which isn't commonly used, is also a B. Yep, A double sharp. Yep. There are a couple cases where there are some double sharps noted in these exercises, and then I have to think about things hard before it takes me a minute, just like there, to like figure out what I'm supposed to be doing. Okay, so we're doing 24 here. We're in tenor clef. It's a 4. So what I need to do here on that, when I shift up, I need to get into extended position right away. I'm like shifting and then I'm getting into extended position, and that's not optimal. I'm gonna do one set per bow. So so 3 notes per bow. Right there. Okay, so maybe let's try that with all of the notes. Number 6. 28. We're in tenor clef again. So this starts on E flat. We're going from 3rd to 5th position. No, it's a half step. No. Oh, because it's E flat, so it is a whole step. Yeah, that is right. We're going from E flat to F, not E to F, so it is a whole step. Landing on a G, that's correct. Start the clock here. Okay, so let's do that all in one bow. Number 7. This is the last one I think I'm going to do today. Let's see. Oh, I started over. We got all the way around on number 7, so we're going to do number 2. I did number 1 last night, so we're going from 1st to 6th position. Big shifts, very big shifts. And this is in tenor clef. That's what we're shooting for. This is the biggest. This is like well, actually it's this one. Anyway, I digress. Start the clock here. let's try that all in one bow. That's enough of that one. All right, what did I say we were? Oh, we were going to do reading through an etude. Let me grab my book. Oh, Song with Spot's not here. So annoying. Hold, please. Song with Spot has been very quick to like disconnect, and I don't know why. Actually, I said I was going to make myself do scales because I don't do scales enough. So let me get a drone going. And let's do. Oh, DJ Moans, you're singing along, huh? Yeah. Name that tune, you win. You win. So there's a G. It is a 4. Should be a 4. Somehow that fingering didn't work out. That G I should end on a 3. So let's do that top octave. Okay, that's enough of that. Oh, I didn't. Oh, we got a timestamp? No? Yes. Forgot to start the timer. But I can't see the timestamp. Where are my settings? They're down here. Chat appearance, timestamp. Excellent. There we go. When did we do the scales? I'm gonna give myself 4 minutes for that. I'm so bad at practicing scales. I hate doing them. I hate them. Okay. So let's be done with scales. I don't know why I hate doing scales so much, but I do. It's not because they're hard. I mean, it gets hard when I do 3 notes per bow. But whatever. That's not why I don't like them. I don't think. Okay, so we're going to do an Etude. We're going to do 24. And this is the one that made that. This is the one that I injured my wrist doing, like 6 months into learning cello. I'm gonna try not to injure myself this time, because it's a lot of extended first position, which is, I don't know. It gets weird. Extended first position is kind of hard on your wrist. So if you're not doing things properly, you can cause problems. Like I learned. Do not recommend. All right. So the purpose of going through these etudes is for sight reading practice. So this one is in either E flat major or C minor. No, G minor. G minor. I think it's in G minor. And this is a string crossing etude, if I remember correctly. I haven't played it in 5 years. Or something. I do remember it sounded cool. here. I was combining tenor clef and bass clef, and that's silly. Pick one and we use one clef. Okay, so there, I'm supposed to do this. There's a little mark here. I'm supposed to keep my third finger down. Oh my gosh, this is really hard to sight read. Let me play it slower. Why does the intro sound like Scotty Doesn't Know from Eurotrip? I don't know. Did they rip off this Lee Etude? It's possible. This is okay. What I'm not doing is I'm not looking ahead, so everything is a surprise, and then I miss things. I need to be looking a couple notes ahead, which I find very difficult to do, and that's why we're doing this. Okay, you pause, make sure I'm looking ahead. I am clearly not doing what I'm supposed to be doing here. Was hard, but it sounds cool. I really do like how this etude sounds. Probably because it's like all dark and stuff. Let's try it again. 4. That's a 4. Blah. What's up, Tesno? Everybody go follow Tesno as well. Tesno DJs and travels and does some fun things. Okay. I think that's good for etudes. That one's also it's definitely a bowing etude and a string crossing etude, but then it's also those, I don't know, the extended position is a thing that is being worked there. But I don't want to work on that one too much, especially considering I hurt myself at one point doing that one. So we will be done with the etudes. Oh, let me write down which one we did here. Oh, I did that already. Okay. Let's tune down. So these two pieces that I'm working on are not in standard tuning, as I have, if you have been around, you know this. I'm going to get rid of all my G strings. Sorry, DJ Moans 1. But we're going to do, which one did I say? We're going to do this one first. We're going to tune down. Do this. This is it's A, D, F sharp, and B. So let's tune this one down from a G to an F sharp. C goes to a B. And while I'm doing this, Plastic Sardine, welcome in. Yeah, this system that I'm streaming on, it was Windows 10. I usually use Macs. But I have been a Linux user, and now am once again a Linux user. So I didn't want to move to Windows 10, and I need all these nice ports on this system for all the things. So we're running Debian 13 right now is the deal. We got a few more things to configure, but we're getting there. We got hopefully a stable system to stream on, and couple things I want to get going are captions. I want to get a local caption solution going. YouTube has captions through Google, but for my friends on Twitch, they don't have captions right now because I have to send them, and I don't really want to use Google's stuff. Just do something locally on my box. So I got to get that figured out, and then my Stream Deck isn't working. Cathedora, no more chores. Excellent. It's working fine from your end. Excellent. Yeah, I did a test stream the other day, and actually I was using the Mujo NVIDIA, the open source NVIDIA drivers, and that was working pretty well, but I did switch to the proprietary NVIDIA drivers because I'm using this system for video. I probably should prioritize using the the most performant drivers that are available to me. So I did do that, which I know some people philosophically are opposed to that, and I respect that position, but I am not. Anyway, so let me check my A and D strings too. All right, so we're gonna work on, let's do this. Let's put the display correct. It would be nice to have my Stream Deck for this. All right, so this, I'm gonna put this in the Twitch chat. Plastic Sardine and anybody else on YouTube, there's a link in the video description or the stream description to the music that I'm working on. It's a couple of pieces by composer Helen Mountfort. She's a cellist. And she writes some cool stuff, and it's really fun to play. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do that. Oops. Need to make this bigger over here. There we go. I think everything's getting smoothed out with like not just the setup, but like how I have OBS set up and things like that. But there are still some things that are not as smooth yet as I would like. So the cool thing about these pieces is that they're some of the large, I don't remember how many, if there's 10 or 12 songs on the album or pieces on the album, and the majority of them are really accessible to students. So that's pretty cool. But they're interesting because some of them are in alternate tuning. Like there's 3 of them that are in G, D, G tuning. This one is in A, D, F sharp, B tuning, as well as the other one that I'm working on. So they're just interesting pieces, but they feel really nice to play. Like the way that Mountfort composes is that everything is kind of logical to a cellist, because she is a cellist, but she's actually taking the instrument into consideration, I think, when she's composing, whereas that isn't always the case. Sometimes composers, even if they're composing for their primary instrument, might be focused on just getting whatever's in their head out and not necessarily worrying about like how it is to play. But it seems, I don't know this for sure, but just like having looked at the music and playing the music, it seems like she's very much thinking about the usability, if you will, of the pieces. So we are, as I've said before, we are imitating the duduk, which is an Armenian double reed instrument, and what my cello teacher calls the saddest instrument ever. So I want to just work on this first part, which I've been doing a lot. Welcome, Raiders! Hey! Neilani, nice to see you. Or should I say Yoshi? Welcome in, everybody. I just started working on this really cool cello piece. I think it's cool. Let me do a shout out. Everybody go follow Delaney. If you're not already, she is an incredible musician. She's a fantastic singer, plays a number of instruments, and is a really fun songwriter. And I got to see her perform at VGM Con multiple times. And so just go follow her, and you will enjoy. Trust me. So I really want to work. So this one reason why we picked this piece, as I just had a recital, so now we're kind of like resetting and working on some other stuff, and working on the new stuff now that we had that sort of that performance, right? So this piece needs to be really expressive, and that's something that that I need to get better at. See, so you were today was a merch prep day for a live gig. Very nice. Very nice. What kind of merch were you prepping? What kind of merch do you have? So anyway, so on this beginning part, I want to really the things with a bowed string instrument, what you need to pay, like the bow is the hard thing, right? It's not the left hand, it's the bow, and varying bow speed and playing stuff in the right part of the bow so that you're ready for the next, not just what you're playing, to play the right part of the bow for what the note that you're playing, but also make sure that you're preparing for the notes that are coming. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. It's a lot to be thinking about up here. There's a lot of threads going on up here. But this starts out quiet. It says molto rubato, which means rubato is like not exactly on grid, if you will. And then piano is quiet, and espressivo is very expressive, and then she says in English, very tender. See, Neilani says, I was just seeing what I still had and making a new price chart, shirts and CDs, and way too many stickers and koozies. Playing a local festival this weekend. Nice. Well, I hope it goes well. I hope the weather is good, too. If it's a festival, I imagine it's potentially outside. Just even making that whole note really expressive is a whole thing. Got to figure out, like, how do I want to start the piece? Like, I've spent, like, I want to say I've spent an entire lesson sometimes on just the very, like, beginning couple of notes of a piece that I was working on. What's up, Usa? See, Nilani says I did some doodling too. Cool. And hope so too. It's supposed to be rainy, so hopefully the rain clears up beforehand. Yeah. I think it's going to be crappy weather. I have a friend coming over on Friday. Usually we like to go walk, but it's supposed to rain, and I'm like, it's going to be cold and raining, and I'm like, ugh. Bleh. Let's just do those first few notes. Gotta work on that right there. go back a few notes here and add those in. Okay, so this part here, this part, there's a lot going on. There's a crescendo there and a glissando. Ugh, flat. The other thing that's going on here is my teacher is suggesting that we do like a lot of vibrato on this note. So not just like this though. He wants me to also do pull like a guitarist would. It's really kind of tricky to do both movements. It's already sounded gorgeous. Oh, thank you. It's a really, really cool piece. It's like, I think it's the beginning of the album. And I think based on what I've seen, like there is a live performance of Helen Mountfort doing this one. I think this is like the hit. This is like the hit single, if you will. So we have a crescendo starting here on this glissando, and then we decrescendo back down. Basically, we start decrescendoing at the high note. We go up, and then we go back down. But wait, there's more, and then it's also flautendo. So flautendo means flute-like. So the way you do that is two things. You don't press the string all the way down to the fingerboard, and you play your bow up closer, up by the fingerboard. Let's see if I can do it. Okay, let's do the whole beginning up to that point. So let's do that part. Couple of things. We'll do this a few times. Couple of things that I'm going to nitpick about. It's supposed to, so this is supposed to be a little bit louder. We start piano. This is mezzo piano, and then there's a crescendo, and then it's not flautendo. It says normal. And then the bowing, I started on the wrong. I assume we're doing. We changed some of the bowings here at my last lesson. So I assume this starts down bow. Played the wrong fingering. So I can see. I've got my iPad turned sideways, so everything is bigger because I'm a little far away from the stand here. But that means I have to nudge the page a little bit more than I would like. So let's go back here. So that's the whole first, kind of the first section. Let me do this. I have new glasses that are coming, but they're not here yet. So I'm hoping that they will help me see my music better. That's what I'm hoping for. Okay, so here. I'm not hitting that. I'm not getting my thumb out of the way. So let's practice this glissando shift. There is a crescendo there on that glissando. The tricky part here too is so that long note. So there's the way that this is written, the pizzicato line. It's like a piano score, right? Where you have the treble clef and the bass clef and the grand staff. Well, instead of the treble clef and the bass clef, we have the bass clef. Well, sometimes treble clef, but we have the bowed cello line, like the main cello line, and then there's a smaller cello staff below which shows the pizzicato notes. And so here, you're holding the long note while you play the left hand pizzicato. So the thing that I have to do is I have to make sure that I place my finger down on the string for the pizzicato note while I'm putting my other finger down. Like, so I should put the two fingers down at the same time. Now this is an open note, it's an open string, so it doesn't really matter where on the string I put it, but when I put that third finger down for the long note for the C sharp, I should also have my finger on the F sharp string because we're tuned down. So that's a tricky business. That's going to require some practice. Okay, so let's do, where do we want to jump in to practice that? Probably just at the beginning, at the glissando. The beginning of this little phrase, I mean. Same thing there. Let's just do that whole section because we get to practice that same idea 3 times in a row. That's feeling more natural. I think it's sounding better too. Let's do it again. Okay, so if we do maybe that whole first part then. What's up, Twitchy? Everybody go follow Twitchy Confused. Who does a lot of improvisation with synthesizers, which is pretty cool. Yeah, anytime, anytime. Let's see here. So starting at the beginning. I feel like that first part is definitely coming along. So now we do different things. Now I'm going to make it so I can see the bottom of the first page and the top of the second page at the same time. So here now we switch to treble clef and we play the melody on the A string. So it's an octave higher. And here I want to be careful because the A string is a lot brighter. So even though I'm basically like doing the same thing with my bow for both strings, you can tell that the A string jumps out more at you. It's a little bit more twangy. The D string is a little bit more mellow. So I want to be careful not to make the A string just kind of stick out like a sore thumb. So I need to back off there so that it's not too loud. Maybe I should start with my bow a little bit farther from the frog. This is the frog. The handle is the frog. And then we have, so I gotta not have my thumb just like out in outer space out here. And then I also have to get my finger ready to play the pizzicato. So we want to start the bow out here. A little flat there. And then on that F sharp there, we also have the left hand pizzicato. So there's a lot going on, and there's a lot that I need to think about with the bow, and then there's just a lot to think about here. So even though like there's just a lot going on, it's going to be hard to play this really expressively and really well. Like I'm feeling comfortable overall with like just like the notes and the fingerings and the bowings, but then to put it all together with expressiveness is the challenge, which is good for me. That's why we picked this piece. Finger's the best to use for the pizzicato there. Maybe my second finger or maybe my third finger. Because ideally, I can still be vibrating here as I'm preparing to play those eighth notes, because they are, the way that they're noted, they are on the downbeat. So this is a tie. So there's a little tiny bit of the note that starts before the beat, but not that much. It's a 16th note worth of note before the pizzicato. a little flat. So that's that section. Then we get into some other stuff. So let's work on this. Let's just go back to the beginning of the section and keep going there. There it is. I'm going to go back a little bit actually to see if I can make sure to get that F sharp at the beginning of this section, if I could start it in the right part of the bow. So we're going to jump in. Oh, I got to see more of the page there. Okay, so where is a good spot? Maybe just right here. And then you are a down bow. So let's just work on that transition there. Oops. Let's get that pizzicato in there. Too loud. Too loud. Tesno, what are you pulling about? Are you pulling about that? You're enjoying a flu in Istanbul. No, I mean, I'm glad you're enjoying Istanbul, but not the flu. That sounds like not the correct way to enjoy Istanbul. In case you were unaware. Yeah, I hope you feel better. +1 USA. I hope you feel better, Tesno. The high note is a 2. Let's work on that shift here. Do the whole thing with a little bit of the other thing. Let's see. Tesno says, I've noticed that rainy, cold days get me down even on the road. Yeah, I mean, rainy, cold days, I'm not a fan of rainy, cold days. I would rather have snowy, cold days. I would rather have it be cold, like cold, than wet and damp and chilly, you know? Could never live in the Pacific Northwest or like Amsterdam or Copenhagen. Nice places. Nice places to visit. Wouldn't want to live there. Yeah, in 40 Celsius with rain, that, you know, like hot rain, that's kind of fun. That's kind of nice because then you're, you know, then you get a little cooled off and then, you know, it's not such a big deal. Jojo, what's up? Cathedora, if you're at the keyboard, can you give Jojo a shout out? Jojo, as you might know, guess from their name, plays games. Some Sudoku is a common one over there. Also a nice place to hang out. Thanks, Cathedora. Okay, so here. That was a little out of tune. We'll work on this section now. This is mezzo forte, so this can be, I can lean into this a little bit more. So let's go here. Okay, so this next section here, let me actually look here. A lot of this just like repeats itself. So that's cool. Like I was just transferring like on the, how many pages is this? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, a bunch of the, like on the third page, it's 4 pages. So a bunch of the stuff on the third page is stuff we've already done before with different dynamics and articulation. But this section here, there is Okay, so we're ending on. So I have to make sure that I leave enough bow so that this doesn't end abruptly, because that was ending abruptly because I ran out of bow. So this, let me not get ahead of myself. Let's go back here. I think actually I'm playing that too fast. These are actually, I know like the way that I was playing it sounds kind of syncopated, but that's like not, it's not syncopated. What's up, Davey? Nice to see you. Where'd you go follow Davey? If you are not already. You may be familiar with the Pets of Twitch competition. Davey is the mastermind behind that, but also does some other cool things on stream as well. So you should go over, if you just know Davey from the Pets of Twitch, you should go and follow Davey and see what else he gets up to on his streams. Have a good look, Nailani, and thanks again for the raid. I appreciate it. And also, I hope the festival goes well, and I have my fingers crossed for good weather. Let's see here. So here. But I think this should be the same. If I play like here. That should be the same tempo as this part. Likewise, Davey, I appreciate you as well. There's always room for cello. Yes. What's up, pencils? This is an interesting version of Mary Had a Little Lamb. Yeah, thanks. Thank you. I think it's if Mary Had a Little Lamb was in Phrygian. Is that what we're doing here? Maybe, maybe. Or if Mary Had a Little Lamb was played on the duduk, which is what we're emulating here. That's what Helen Mountfort has instructed us to do, is to imitate the duduk, which is it's an Armenian double reed instrument. It's got really, really thick reeds. So my cello teacher says that it's the saddest instrument ever. And also, you've probably heard it if you've watched a movie or a TV show where something bad happens in the desert, that there's probably the duduk is probably part of that soundtrack. So the more you know. So this next part, I'm going to not do it. It is slurred. I'm not going to worry about the bowing. I just want to worry about the left hand. Because the way that the fingerings that my teacher gave me are not like normal cello fingerings. The composer has instructed us in the very beginning of the piece to play around with glissandi and with the width and speed of vibrato. So the fingerings that he gave me here are they're not what a cellist would normally play, but it's for more glissandi. But I'm gonna just do this one note per bow. So that's the first little section. And we switch bows on the D there. There's up bow. So this is all down bow here. That's all supposed to be down bow. So I'm hesitating in a couple of spots. Need to fix that. DJ Vegan in Black, good to see you. DJ Vegan in Black will be streaming shortly this evening. And go follow Pencils too, I mean, I guess. Oh, is that not working? I switched my bot over. Pencil says no. Don't follow. I mean, the bot disagrees. All right, well, that's fine. Whatever. Let's see here. Let's just do that part, because I'm wanting to shift. What I'm wanting to do is not what is written here. We obey the bots here. Yeah. Everybody say hi to my new bot. I just switched off of Stream Elements to Streamlabs for the moment. I'm not sure if I'm going to stay with Streamlabs, but that's what we're doing right now. See if we can do that all down bow, actually. That's where we go. So bow management is a thing here. And I have a tendency to use too much bow at the beginning of the bow stroke. And that is bad, because then I run out of bow all the time. Now we're in London Bridges falling down territory, yes. That's exactly what we're doing, Pencils. Very, very nice job. You win Name That Tune. And then let me see here what this says. what we're going to be doing, what I'm not going to do now, but what we will do eventually is it says start same speed as the semiquavers, which a semiquaver, I forget what that means. I'm used to quarter notes and eighth notes and not quavers and semiquavers and whatever. So I have to translate that. But yes, start same speed as semiquavers and accelerate. So that's something that we'll be worrying about later. So you need a 29.5 foot bow. That would be so heavy. Okay, so then the next part goes. Not sure if that's actually a 2-2. Let me not do that all up bow. It should be up bow, but we're not going to do that yet. So I think if I wrote this down correctly, we have to go from regular position to extended position. And that's, I have to remember to do that, to prepare that. That's that section. So if we do that all up bow, like it says to do. I think. No, that's probably. Maybe it's a. So there's a. I'm pretty sure that I was copying over my teacher's copy. So I might not have gotten the note in the right spot, and I'm trying to figure out the shift here. So let me highlight it so I can ask him about it. Oops, that's not a highlighter. That's a highlighter. So much bow, so much bow, so many notes. Left hand pizzicato with the fourth finger. Blah. So this whole, let's see if we can do this whole thing. I think that's a 2. That's better. I like that glissando better. So does my teacher. See, I should only be a little ways down the bow. Getting too excited on the start of that bow stroke. I'm like, yes, down bow. Yes. But no. I guess I can cheat on those up bows, but they should probably be like. All right. Other stuff I need to talk to my teacher about. So let's spent way more time than I wanted to on this. I mean, I like this piece, but let's do the other one. I was going to leave time to do some old repertoire and like look at that, both for sight reading help, like sight reading practice, and I probably should have like stuff that I could play live somewhere that's not Twitch. And I don't have any. I always just have like the piece that I'm working on for my recital. That's like it's like all I can handle is like I have to like I get like super focused on the one piece that I'm working on, plus like my normal technique stuff and etudes and things like that. And I don't go back to old pieces, and I should. Anyway, so this is the same composer, same tuning, and this one is all harmonics. So that's fun. And this is a very much a loop based piece. So we've got a 4-measure loop, another 4-measure loop. We kind of alternate back and forth between 2 4-measure loops. Well, yeah. And things change. So anyway, the tricky part here is making sure that the harmonic, so harmonic, you know, is just making sure that I get those I hit those harmonics, and I can release my finger. You can kind of release your finger so that it rings out a little bit more. So anyway, the beginning starts with double stops, and I think I'm getting the double stops down. And this is supposed to be a very bouncy bow. I'm not doing that yet. We're not putting that in here yet. We'll get there. This harmonic is tricky. Get that. This is in the middle of the string. I got to remember to hit that harmonic high enough. There's a lot of margin for error on that harmonic, but if I start going lower and lower, then I'm not going to hit the other harmonic, so I got to hit this one right on. It should ring out nice and strong. Should play this slower. And I also need to get my bow closer to the bridge because the harmonic will ring out better. Also, what I'm discovering is that I need to keep my thumb in the cradle here, which is 4th position, because then everything is like stable and it should be easier to hit things. There's where we change. I have a tendency to do this, to creep up with my bow arm, and that is not what we want. Let's see, we do that twice, and then we change chords. I'm going to highlight the changes so that I have a visual indicator of what's going on here. It's the musician's equivalent of a neon flashing light. That's what that is. Thanks for the emotes, Usa. That's what we're doing here. Okay. So. That should help. We'll see. It's also a little weird because the way the harmonics work, this note is lower than this note. Usually as you go up the fingerboard, the notes get higher, but not with harmonics. Well, it depends. This is the lowest harmonic, is the middle of the string. Sometimes they're backwards, but then when you go past the middle, they're mirrored once you get to the midpoint of the string. That's that section. I'm gonna move ahead. So then we have the beginning part with the double stops again, and then we do that part again. And it loops twice, I think. Oh, then we have a different section here. Now we do. So that part goes. Change gets me. Let me highlight that. it's on a page turn too. Ugh. Okay, let's see if that helps. I highlighted the notes in the notes over here. Then we go back to the double stops. And then the next section, I'm not sure what to think about this next section, because I think it's on the G and the D strings. I think, and it's in treble clef, so then that's a whole tricky business. So we've got a D and a C. So I think it's this. But it might be this. It might be up here. And then we have a G and another D, but an octave higher. But it's an F sharp. This is an F sharp, so it looks like a G, but it's not actually a G, which is also confusing. And then if that is might be that. Looking for the other octave harmonic. There it is. I think it might be this. I don't know. My teacher was like way up here past where the fingerboard is when he was playing this for me at my last lesson. And I didn't have a lesson last week. It was my fault. There was a traffic situation that made it impossible for me to get to my lesson. I finally got to where I needed to go. And there was 20 minutes left of my lesson by the time I got there, and I hadn't parked. And the parking situation was also a nightmare. So then I texted I had been texting my teacher. I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to be late. There is a traffic situation and I can't get around it. So there was I finally got to the place where normally I would park 20 minutes before my lesson, and then I was going to have to like drive around more and try and probably have to park somewhere inconvenient. And then I figured by the time I parked, walked to where my lesson was, got my cello out of the case, it would have been time to put my cello back in the case. So rather than, you know, bothering to park and like pay for parking, I was just like, that's it. I give up. I'll see you next week. So I was pretty annoyed by that. Like I didn't think to check. This hasn't been a problem before. So I didn't think to check before I left, but I probably would have had to leave like an hour before I normally leave for my lesson in order to get there in time. So had I known, I would have just said, hey, can we do an online lesson? And we would have just done it here. But no. So anyway, that was the thing. So yeah, so this part with the double stop harmonics, I need to ask my teacher about, and then we go back to the other double stop section, like at the beginning. And then we have this again. We got that again. And then we have that again. And then there's more double stop harmonics, and I don't even know how to start there. So I will ask my teacher for guidance. This is the last page here. And then what else do we have here? We've got more. It looks like it ends. Like it ends like that, basically. So there's really two sections that I need help with I think. I mean, I'm sure I'll get some additional instructions, because we didn't actually my teacher played this for me, but he was just like, he gave me a couple of notes, and then it was like, okay, go. We worked more on the other piece. So yeah. I guess we do. I'm going to stop on this one, and then I didn't time myself. So we're just going to call it a half an hour. And then I'm going to dig out some old repertoire for sight reading purposes. Let's do that. I did check, by the way, to see if there was anything else that I should be aware of before I go to the rest of the lessons for the rest of the year, actually. And I think I'm okay, but fingers crossed. Okay. Where is that thing here? Here, let's do this. Let's play some drop while I switch my music around. !drop with your favorite emote in the chat if you want to play. Very nice, Silver. Very, very nice. I'm grabbing Suzuki Book 2, actually. Maybe we can play some Bach hits. Let's see here. I kind of want to play something that I don't know super well. Let's do this Musette from English Suite number 3 when we're done with drop. I think that works. I don't remember what that one sounds like. I probably will eventually. There's like, oh my gosh, almost everything in this book is Bach. Let's see. There are 12 pieces in this book. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, only 4 of them are Bach. All right, well. I mean, I like Bach, but, you know, it's a lot. It's a lot of Bach. All right, so let's do, let me make sure I don't forget my pencil. I have a thing for... Okay, so let's see what we have here with this Musette from English Suite number 3. I'll probably remember what it is when as soon as I start playing it. So anyway, so what I'm doing is I am practicing sight reading by going through some old pieces that I played, like, this is even before I started writing dates on things, but I think I got through Suzuki Book 2 like the second 6 months the second half of the first year I was playing. So it's been a minute. I started in 2020. So this probably would have been, most likely I would have looked at this last sometime before mid 2021. So it's been a minute. And we're going to use the fingerings that are in here. But I'm not good at sight reading, number one, and I'm not good. So sight reading, I mean, technically, if you want to be pedantic about it, technically sight reading means I've never seen this before and I'm just playing off of the music. I did learn this piece at some point, so technically I'm not sight reading, but it's still pretty, like, it's been a minute, so it's still pretty new to me. And so I'm just reading through some of these pieces, and I've been doing that with etudes as well. Twitchy says, I'm terrible at sight reading. Yeah, it's hard. It's a skill, and you have to practice it, and it's hard. So that's what we're doing. And then also, I never refresh on old repertoire, which I should. So it's a good way to do that. So anyway, let's see. This is Andante Pastorelle. So I think that, you know, like we're walking through the fields of the, you know, in the country. Okay, I think that's what we're... but, I do remember this now. I do remember this. DevKind, good to see you. Have you really moved to Linux, or did Linux move to you? I don't know, maybe both. Maybe both. I didn't want to move to Windows 11, and I didn't want to buy a new computer. So I went to Linux. So Microsoft, actually, I would have been fine to just like stay on Windows 10 until this system died. But Microsoft had other ideas, so Microsoft can shove it, and we're giving Debian Linux a try. That's what's up here. That's why. So really, Microsoft forced my hand. Every part did their steps to get closer together. Yeah. Yeah. Everyone helped. Everyone helped. Yes. Okay, so now let's try, since I did the sight reading part, now that I kind of have refreshed a little bit, let's work on this for a little bit. See, Twitchy says, yeah, I have some old computers that run Linux. I also run Windows machines on newer computers. So yeah, I used to use Linux as, I actually have formal computer coursework in Linux. It was mostly on Fedora. And I used to use Fedora as my main system, and my work system was on various flavors of Linux, and I was doing some sysadmin stuff at the very, very beginning of my career, and doing some QA and things like that with various Linux, mostly Ubuntu at that point, in VMs and stuff. And I haven't really used Linux in 15 years. So now we're back, and I am remembering, I'm very, very rusty, but I am remembering how things work. But then all these things are new, like Wayland, what? But for those of you that do use Linux, I am curious, which distros do you use? I started this project. I was like, yeah, I'll just use Ubuntu Studio because it's built for what, for creative work and what I'm doing. So hopefully that'll be the easy button. And, easy relatively speaking, because I don't really want to tinker. I'm not a tinkerer. I don't enjoy it. I'm technical enough that I can stumble my way around things, but if I don't have to, I'd rather not. So that didn't go well. It did not go well, and I never really liked Ubuntu personally, but I was like, well, we'll try it. And then I had wiped Windows off the system, and I had put Ubuntu on the full disk. Then I was like, this isn't going well, so I repartitioned the disk so that so it was 50-50 roughly, and put Debian on a second partition, and that went much smoother and much better. So I think that's what we're gonna go with going forward here. But I have a couple things that I need to do. One of which is get my Stream Deck working, and I'm a little nervous about that because that was one of the problems I ran into on the Ubuntu side. But I didn't run into some of the other there was some conflict things, and I was just like, I don't want to deal with this. So anyway, that's where we're at. All right, let's see if we can make this piece musical. I would change the if I would probably, now that I'm a better player, I would change the fingerings. I don't have my pencil handy. Pencil is over there. Let's see. Uber Cruiser says I use Linux. Hi, Uber Cruiser, by the way. I use Linux a lot at work, but it's all DevOps crap. I have opinions on distros, but it's from a nerd point of view and not a I just want a computer to live my life point of view. Yeah, yeah. Which makes sense, right? Like, yeah. See, DevKind says, I know one streamer who moved to Linux, and it is hard with some games and involves sometimes much work to get it working with the system and OBS. Yeah. I don't play games on this. Like, if I do play games, like, once in a while I'll play a game to stream, but I do it on my Switch. I don't know if my capture card will just work, or if I'm going to have to do some tinkering to get my capture card to work. But also, if I wanted a game, I have a lot of computers. None of them are like fancy and new, really, but you know, I use my computers until I can't use them anymore. So I think I mentioned this last time. I have a 11-year-old iMac that's in my kitchen. That's just like for playing music, or I'll have Twitch on in the background when I'm like eating dinner or cooking or whatever. So I've got all these computers laying around, and there's a computer over here, a Mac, an M1 Mac Mini that I could use to do games if I needed to, because like the Switch is portable, so I can just plug it in wherever. Do that with all my electronics, never selling, just using until the end. Yeah, and then I use them till the end, and then eventually I take them to the county recycling center. That's how that goes. But I'm getting better at doing that recycling center thing. Yeah. Anyway, so what I would do here, if I were to, now that I'm a better player and more experienced player, I would probably not play these. I would not play open A's like you. I would, like here. There's some long open A's, and ew, gross. Probably do a second finger there. Maybe, I'd probably do something different there. Strawberry Kitten, welcome in. I'm using Debian right now. I had some problems with Ubuntu Studio, which is what I started trying to get set up, and then I was like, nope, let's try Debian, which was my original plan. So I have a lot of experience with Fedora in particular. But so that's what we're trying now. Seems to be going better. All right, let's look at one of these other ones. Let's look at something that's not Bach. What else do we have in here? Two handle pieces. We got this Hunter's chorus, which I also don't remember. Kind of, maybe. This resist sign here. So it is, so I'm in Minnesota, and we were occupied by federal agents, and they're still here, but we're less occupied, but they're still here. So that's what it's a yard sign. It goes with this one down here. But yeah, we were occupied by the federal government. It was not great. It's not great. So that's what that's about. I support my immigrant neighbors. Matching yard signs. Yeah, so I don't have a yard, but I bought the signs because they were cool. Like, this one's really, I think it's really beautiful, too. Like, take this. You can see it a little bit better. But I think it's, yeah, it's just, I thought it was gorgeous. Put that back over here. To kind of precariously balance it. Let's see here. So this Hunter's Chorus starts out loud. Why would you do that? Oh, those are not up, up. Why is that down bow? Oh, all bars start down bow. Okay, well that's why. This is a Suzuki book, and we change the fingerings, which is not what you're supposed to do, but we do it anyway. We change the fingerings because we're rebels over here. Okay, so let's start here. Where does the repeat go? The repeat goes all the way to the beginning, it looks like. Let's see, so maybe those are up, up. They don't say up, up. Anyway, let's start at the beginning. Yeah, those have to be up, up if they're going to start down bow. Oh, I see. Yeah. We do have an up, up there. We got 4 of those. Second ending. I do remember this. As soon as I started playing it, I was like, oh yeah. Oh, up, up. So this is down bow. And this is up bow. Oh, and I totally forgot I'm tuned down. So it's good that these pieces that I'm looking at don't have any notes on the 2 lower strings, because woo, that would have been unpleasant. That would have been unpleasant. Because I'm... Velvet Goat Cheese. Good to see you. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm just like... just kind of... Probably have to quit, actually. I probably should just end there. Probably should end there. Because I got to eat dinner. So thank you, everybody, for hanging out. Everybody, go follow everybody. There's a lot of streamers in the house. If I forgot you, I apologize. But let's do this. And oops. Let's copy those raid calls. Let's see who's on YouTube. Strawberry Kitten. And we had Plastic Sardine. Thank you for hanging out and chatting. I should be back next week about this time, trying to make this a regular time slot from like 3 to 5 p.m. U.S. Central Time on Wednesdays. I've been doing other pop-ups, and my Discord is where I post stuff and things, but also Blue Sky and Mastodon in the Fediverse are the places where I hang out. See, Twitchy says I'm going to go outside and touch some grass. That sounds like an excellent idea.